The village of Yumyuk had always been a quiet place, tucked between hills and forests. It thrived on secrets, rituals, and a tight-knit community that feared change more than death. It was a place where strange things didn't happen, or at least, no one spoke of them if they did. On the night of June 13th, the rain fell hard like the sky was mourning. Inside a dimly lit hut at the far end of the village, a woman named Nena lay screaming in labor. The midwives hovered over her, chanting prayers under their breath as the storm outside intensified. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the child came, slick with afterbirth, silent as a shadow. No cry, no scream, just an eerie calm. Then, the baby opened her eyes, wide, alert to knowing for a newborn. A second later, she opened her mouth and, instead of crying, she spoke. "Leave now. She is coming." The room froze. One of the midwives fainted. Another dropped the clay bowl of warm water. Nena, too exhausted to even scream, passed out as the candle flickered violently before dying out. By morning, the story had already started to spread, but only in whispers. The baby had spoken. Not cried, spoken. Some said it was a warning. Others said it was a curse. But one thing was certain. Something had awakened. The baby, named Ataku, seemed ordinary in every way as the days passed, eating, sleeping, cooing. But Nena noticed the way her child stared too long at people, how her tiny fingers would curl when someone lied, and how dogs refused to come near her. The village elders held a secret meeting at the Ihu Dibia shrine, where the oracle of the hills resided. Chief Enin, the village head, recounted what the midwives had told him. Words spoken by a mouth that should know speech. "A warning of something or someone that is coming," he said. "But who is she?" asked Obiagu, the chief priest. "And why now?" Just as the oracle was being consulted, a woman arrived at the village, a tall, veiled stranger with eyes too bright to be natural. She walked straight to the shrine, uninvited. "I heard the child has spoken," she said, her voice calm and unnatural. "Who are you?" Chief Enin asked, rising with authority. She removed her veil slowly, revealing a face that made every man present recoil. "I am her mother," she said, pointing to the shrine wall, where an ancient painting of a goddess was carved, a goddess that looked exactly like the stranger. Attica's birth wasn't just an accident. It was a return. After the stranger's arrival, Nena began having vivid dreams, visions of fire, blood, and a voice whispering, "You made a deal." She began searching her memory, trying to remember what the voice meant. Then it struck her. 10 years ago, after years of infertility, she had gone into the forest during a solar eclipse and performed a forbidden ritual near the river Thee. A woman had appeared from the water, cloaked in shadow, and asked her just one question. "Are you willing to give something for what you want most?" Desperate, Nena had agreed, without thinking. She didn't know she had promised her womb to a forgotten deity. Now, that deity had come to claim what was hers. Ataku was not just a baby. She was a vessel. As Nena sat in the dark with her mother, Mama Eek, the old woman finally spoke truths she had hidden all her life. "This has happened before," Mama Eek whispered, trembling. "Your grandmother bore a child that never aged. She vanished when the river turned red. History was repeating itself. And this time, the consequences would be worse." By the time Ataku turned 7 days old, strange things began happening in Yumyuk. Animals were found dead in circles, eyes gouged out. The village well dried up, and 3 children went missing. The villagers gathered with machetes, torches, and fear. They wanted answers, and they believed the baby was cursed. Chief Enin, under pressure from the people, ordered that the child be taken to the forest and left for the gods. Nena, heartbroken but terrified, fled with her baby into the night. But the stranger, the deity, appeared again at the outskirts of the village. "You cannot run from blood," she said. "She is not your daughter. She is mine. Then take me instead, Nena screamed. A moment of silence passed before the goddess tilted her head. That is an interesting offer. A ritual was performed by moonlight, an exchange. Nena offered her life in place of her daughter's soul. The goddess accepted. Ataku, watching with knowing eyes, spoke again. I was never yours to begin with. Lightning cracked the sky. The goddess screamed. The baby began to levitate. The ritual had awoken something far older than any river deity. Nena hadn't made a deal with a goddess. She had made a deal with something far more ancient. The next morning, Yumiuk was silent. The villagers found Nena's lifeless body at the base of the irako tree, her hands still clutched around a wooden idol. But there was no sign of the baby. No footprints. No crying. Nothing. Years passed. The village returned to a strange peace. But legends began to grow about a child with eyes like mirrors, who walked through the market at midnight, blessing some, cursing others. A traveling priest, Father Dominic, came to Yumiuk 5 years later. He had studied supernatural phenomena across West Africa. After weeks of research, he found the truth buried in an old manuscript. Ataku was not born of a woman. She was reborn, a reincarnated being known in ancient texts as Nwa Ichechi, the child of prophecy who would appear once every 1,000 years to judge the wicked and reward the just. The goddess that came was only trying to bind her. But Ataku was greater than any goddess. Nena's deal had not created her. It had merely unlocked a gate. The gate to judgment. And somewhere deep in the forest, in a small clearing where the river runs red during eclipses, a child sits and waits.
Because the day of reckoning has only just begun,